Do you wish, though, that you had accepted the results? There have been other close races, and men have said, listen, for the betterment of the country, we're going to move on. We're going to accept the results of the election. Would that have been the right course of action?
No, it would have been a terrible thing because you have to get the election straightened out. You have to fair and free elections. You have to have fair and free elections.
Patriots, the Lorax man is absolutely right.
He's absolutely right.
Any American worth their patriotic salt would know there was something fishy about the 2020 election that needed to be straightened out. Which is why, on his first day in office, Donald Trump has sworn to send the election results not to Mike Pence, but to conversion therapy. You know what they say, no one is born a Joe Biden supporter.
And if you don't, you should always have the right to challenge them. If you couldn't challenge elections, you wouldn't even have a democracy.
Exactly, folks. If you couldn't challenge elections, you wouldn't have a democracy. You'd have an autocracy, which is better.
You wouldn't have elections anymore. You have to do what you actually have to do.
Have you ever had a dream that you could?
You have to do what you actually have to follow your heart. You have to do what's right. And when you look at what happened with those elections, people, I guess they did a poll, 82% of the people think there was wrongdoing and substantial wrongdoing.
A wise point indeed, Oompa Loompa in Chief. You have to follow your heart, because nothing is more true than what comes from right here.
A dream is a wish your heart makes.
So now you have to fix the elections so that they work.
Now that is just the first clip I have for you of a local news channel's interview with forever President Donald Trump.
Mr. Former President, I want to thank you for your time.
She obviously got confused there because clearly
Donald J. Trump has never conceded, has he? Because he won the election, so be cool. It's all going to be good in time. Donald J. Trump is still the guy the military will call for the code if they need a first strike.
That's right, drunk pastor. Donald J. Trump is still in charge of the military. Although most refer to it more as a militia, but that's just liberal lies. And in the aforementioned interview, which for those of you watching who voted for him the first time, aforementioned means what I previously referred to. But in that interview, Trump didn't hold back, dropping truth bombs the size of Fat Man.
There are folks who say that if you are elected again, that you are a threat to democracy because of what happened on January 6th. What is your response to that, and would you accept the results of this election?
Well, look at what's happening right now. Look at Biden's a threat to democracy. January 6th was nothing like this.
Checkmate, libs. What's he comparing January 6th to?
They're ripping down all our schools. They're ripping down our institutions. They're protesting all over the place, and very violently, too. They're protesting all over the place. This is a threat to democracy. He's a threat to democracy because he's incompetent. He doesn't know what he's doing.
I don't think he understood what he was doing. He liked talking to big guys. You know, the big guys get together and they do big guy things.
I don't see how size is relevant here. Stormy said it didn't matter.
And we have a president that's grossly incompetent. He can't deal with Putin and President Xi of China and Kim Jong-un of North Korea. He can't handle them. He doesn't even know who they are.
So true, Patriots. We don't need a feeble-minded old man who respects the rule of law. We need someone who can look the likes of Putin and Kim Jong-un in their eyes and say, I see you.
President Putin was very, very strong. He even called me brilliant. Isn't that nice?
Putin has much better leadership qualities than Obama. Kim Jong-un, he really has been very open, I think very honorable.
He's the boss. It's incredible. He wiped out the uncle. He wiped out this one, that one.
And then we fell in love. He wrote me beautiful letters.
Now that is how you keep on rocking in the free world. And speaking of freedom, who can remember a freer time than when the cornerstone of political conversation was states' rights?
What's your stance on women's reproductive rights?
Well, we have something that's very big. The Roe v. Wade was terminated by the United States Supreme Court, and now it's states' rights. And that's what we've got. And now the states are working it out. If you look at Ohio, they worked something out, and it came out far more liberal, I would say, than they thought. But it's all being worked out, and it's working out to where people wanted it.
Found a woman who would perform the abortion for $300. I went to her house, did as she instructed. I removed my jeans and underwear and shoes and got on her kitchen table and spread my legs and watched as she inserted a plastic tube that had been boiling in a pot of water.
Whoa, don't know how that got in there. Let's just pretend this is court and just strike that from the record, huh?
It's a very simple question, actually, and it's become a lot simpler now because for years they wanted Roe v. Wade canceled, terminated, because it shouldn't be in the federal government. And now it's all up to the states. So the states will make the decisions.
Just where I like my private, personal, and healthcare information, in the hands of the state.
There are ads running that say that you would support certain states with bans monitoring a woman's pregnancy.
Well, that would be up to the states.
Yes, just like the founders intended. I mean, think about it, folks. If you can't trust a woman to vote, how can you trust her to deal with her own child? They can do that now? Oh boy, we need this guy more than ever. But it's one thing to infiltrate a woman's womb. It's another thing entirely to infiltrate God's country.
There's a crisis at the border. What would you do if you are elected?
We have to seal it up.
Exactly, ladies. If you want true protection for your border or your privates, you just gotta seal it up with a great big wall. Unless the migrants are famous, of course, then they can just
grab them by the pussy.
But if they're not, they're monsters. Frankly, less than human beings. And you may be asking yourself, well, how do we tell the difference?
We're taking
How do you know
everybody.
that? Yeah, some people might
Because
be here
all
to
you have to
work.
do is all you have to do is ask them, where do you come from?
And if they reference the Cotton Eye Joe and know the dance, you give them citizenship. But if not, you send them back to the Congo or Yemen or Trump University, whatever mental institution they came from.
They came in. We had a lot of them. A lot of people came in from the Congo, from jails in the Congo and Africa.
You don't
This
think
is
there's some
not
good people? Do you think there are some productive people coming?
Sure there are. Yes, sure there are. There are.
Yeah, sure there are. Like, Melania. She's a foreign, and look how she's fit in so nice. Beautiful, really. Not as beautiful as his daughter, but who's to say?
You know about sexual predators and things like that. I mean,
you are one.
All right, I was going to say that, but it's true.
He got sex offenders on Hovio that he keep on a monthly allowance. A child should never be compromised, and he keeping his child around him. And we gotta raise our daughters knowing there's predators like him lurking.
I'll go backstage before a show, and everyone's getting dressed, and I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I stand in there with no, and so I sort of get away with things like that.
Sick man with sick thoughts.
If Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know.
Stop it! Oh, it's so weird. Stop. You know what? You are sick.
Yeah.
Daniels is saying, he said, you remind me of my daughter.
To anybody that embody the love for their kids, keep the family away.
Donald Trump making questionable comments about a young girl.
You're going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years.
Donald Trump said of Epstein, he's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side.
Meet the Trumps.
The real president, everyone. There truly is no love like that of a father and his daughter. And if you think this country needs a real leader and someone who only speaks the truth, drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification, get alerted when our supreme leader does anything from opening his mouth to letting out a shart. And make sure you give all your money to our Patreon because it funnels directly to his campaign. For Really American, I'm Kenny Hesse, and I'll see you guys in the next one.